it gets too loud, can you let me know?
Okay.
Right?
Can you hear it? Well, it's better than your fan.
It sounds like you're in a tornado.
Brenna sounded like she was in a car at 100 miles an hour with her head out the window.
At least I'm having fun.
At least she's happy.
But I do this once a week, and it's stressing me the fuck out.
Everything's fine.
All right, everybody, share.
Share.
Working on it.
Share.
I am posting our YouTube.
So am I.
What?
I very nearly just shared the link to this chat.
Oh, do you want us to watch, Wayne? Is that it? Check out the live stream.
I don't want to watch this crap.
That'd be fucking hilarious.
Someone did.
Oh man. No, because on this, where you have to do it in the browser, you've got a little thing to say copy link. So then everything I was tapping was the link to this. I was like, oh shit. That'd be fun.
That's fine.
How is my audio displaying? Oh, fine or fine?
Doesn't get better than this.
Oh, look at this!
Professor.
Hello, Professor.
All right. Music has stopped. Wayne, since you were the first one here, you want to introduce the show this week?
Oh, there's been some. Hal, just so you know, there's been some technical difficulties behind the scenes, and
hold on. Hold on. There's been no technical difficulties.
Been rather smooth,
on my
actually.
end. On my end.
We're doing great. Wayne, on the other hand, has to complain.
I don't like change. Just stop it. Anyway.
No.
Everyone, welcome to the Bin Podcast. This is your weekly dose of fun fact and being informed now. I don't know where I'm sitting, but I've got my illustrious colleague, Brenna Duncan.
Woo!
Hi, everybody.
And in another foreign country, I've got my boy, Jatan.
Hello, everybody.
And we also have Mikey Famine from Chicago.
Repping my Nimraps shirt. Nimraps.
And we have a very special guest today, my friend, Professor Hal Sosabowski, who is the Professor of the Public Understanding of Science at the University of Brighton. How we can say hello.
Welcome, Professor Hal.
Hola.
Glad to have you.
No, Hal, thanks for coming on, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Cortez is also here, but he will be back.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Hal, would you like to tell us a bit more about yourself? Because we like to let our guests tell their biography themselves.
How very kind of you. Well, I'm a professor at the University of Brighton on the south coast of England, and I've got an unusual chair in as much as it's public understanding of science. So I'm very lucky. I get to do science communication around the world by means of live science shows, television and radio, which is how I met Wayne, because we both contribute to a slot on the same radio station. So I love what I do. And I get to commentate on science matters in the media and make a bit of television, as well as teaching undergraduates about pharmacy, which is what my primary teaching discipline is.
Professor in Public Understanding of Science, does that mean that you are qualified to make Thomases like me understand science?
Yes.
Yes, good. All right, we need you badly.
No,
I do.
Okay. So, for example, yesterday there was a lot of speculation about what happened in Lebanon, and I got a couple of calls from radio stations and TV stations saying what actually did happen, what is ammonium nitrate, and it was my pleasure to unpick it all and set the record straight about what did or didn't happen.
And look at our guest doing the segue to our first topic of the night, which is he's a professor and clearly done this before. So please, can you help us understand what happened?
Yes. This is one of those examples of society not learning from its own mistakes. This happens every 50 or so years. Ammonium nitrate is NH4NO3. It's got nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen in it, and it's used primarily as a fertilizer. It also can be used as an explosive. Lots of compounds which contain nitrogen will decompose and turn from a solid into a gas. And as we all know, gases expand, they occupy much more space than solids, and so they want to go somewhere. And that's what an explosion is. An explosion is simply a solid or a liquid decomposing into a gas, and the gas wants to stretch, and that's what we saw yesterday. So what happened was someone wrongly was storing far, far too much ammonium nitrate in the same place at the same time. And this happens, like I said, every 50 years. And if it's just left to its own devices, it's fine. But if there's a fire, the ammonium nitrate acts as an oxidant. So you have a fuel and an oxidant. So normally like you have petrol, gasoline, and air, and they react together. So what would have happened yesterday is someone started a fire, and there's some suggestion that someone was doing some work with flames in an adjacent building, and a fire started. And as the fire went on, the ammonium nitrate was oxidizing the fuel. And that's fine, it was just a fire, and fires can be controlled. But if you have enough ammonium nitrate in the same place at the same time, and you reach what's called its critical mass, the ammonium nitrate, when it gets hot enough, says, you know what, I don't need the fuel anymore, I'm just going to decompose. And so there were several hundred, if not thousands of tons of solid, which suddenly, all at the same time, turned into a gas. And the gas had to go somewhere. So it did that very, very fast. And what you saw the fire with red smoke. And the red smoke is nitrogen dioxide, which is a characteristic product of ammonium nitrate when it burns. And then it all decomposed. And a gas occupies normally about 10 to 15,000 times the volume. So you saw that massively quick shock wave. And you also saw that big white cloud. And what that was, it was like when an aircraft takes off, sometimes you see mist above its wings. It's due to low pressure and high pressure waves. So that's all it was. It was stupidity. It wasn't a terrorist thing. It wasn't a deliberate thing. And if you look on Wikipedia, there's a list of ammonium nitrate disasters because we just don't learn our lessons. You store it there, nothing bad happens, so you leave it, and so on and so forth. It's used by terrorists as ANFO, which is ammonium nitrate fuel oil. You mix it with diesel, and the diesel acts as a fuel, and the nitrate oxidizes it, and you just put some shrapnel in, and you've got a really effective improvised explosive device.
Yeah.
According to the BBC, it was 2,750 tons of aluminum nitrate stored in Warehouse 12, which, according to official sources, arrived on the Moldovan flag cargo ship, the Amber Roses, back in 2013.
Why would they store something like this for so long without it being just taken to its natural conclusion wherever it needs to be? Why would you store something so volatile for so long?
Like, why would you store nuclear waste in a hole in the ground? It's a hot potato. Unless you've got a market for it, unless you've got an end user, it's something that's very, very awkward to control. It's like when we had COVID and the price of crude oil went into negative figures. Right. You have to put it costs money to store it. It's a hot potato. And so they just dumped it in this warehouse, as you say, for 6 years. And these things do get forgotten about. It's often amazing. So it's a hot potato. Unless you've got a market for it, you're in a pickle. And the market is either fertilizer or explosives.
So when you have 2,750 tons of aluminum nitrate, and let's equate that with a bomb. How big is this explosion? If we're how many kilotons of dynamite would this be?
Right, so a kiloton is 1,000 tons, and that, as you pointed out, is the kind of metric for measuring nuclear devices. And we've kind of answered our own question, because if you're sort of saying kilotons of, say, TNT, it's not going to be a whole lot different from TNT. TNT is trinitrotoluene. So if it's 27 kilotons effectively. So in the scheme of things, it's at the lower end of the spectrum. And I'm not in any way diminishing the terrible destruction it wrought. But nuclear weapons, like the Saab bomb, which is the biggest ever nuclear weapon, that's almost measured in megatons, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's actually timely because Hiroshima and Nagasaki were the anniversaries of today, I believe.
Yes.
And, they were, you'll not be surprised to hear I give a lecture on these, they were actually relatively small, and also they didn't work very well. You only got about a 5% yield. And although the desired outcome was reached, that the war has not necessarily gone Japan's way, in the words of the emperor, it wasn't, they wanted mainly the Allies wanted a sort of a bigger outcome.
And my question was, do we have, or are there large deposits of this chemical like stored regularly? And on top of that, why would you store it in a place so close to people?
Right. So the second question is an excellent one. It's stored by irresponsible people who store it. It absolutely shouldn't have been. And in this country, there's all sorts of legislation about how much of ammonium nitrate you can store, where you can store it, and how you can store it. Clearly, what happened is it was a grey import, because that ship, as I understand it, it wasn't supposed to. It was going to Mozambique, and it got into difficulties. It then went back. It came to Lebanon because it couldn't go anywhere else. It was impounded, and the crew were dismissed. So they just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it was, according again to the BBC, it was supposed to have been disposed of or resold.
Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna buy that? But what I find ironic is the opposite ends of the spectrum that it inhabits, in the sense of, one, it gives life in the fertilizer process, and the other, it takes a lot of life. So it's weird that we've got a substance that is so,
Yeah, I like Googled it, and the SAR bomb was 30 megaton.
Okay, that's about right.
No, 50 megatons of TNT. Yeah, was the blast yield. But because we started talking about the Hiroshima bombing of 6th of August back in 1945. So how big was that little boy, or was that big boy that went over Hiroshima?
No, it was little boy and fat man. I don't know precisely what the yield was, but the interesting thing about this is, and I'm not just being a politician and avoiding the question, is, and I was thinking this on the way to where I was going today, is it's the terrible fickle nature of war. The intended targets weren't Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I think they were Hiroshima and Kokura. But when Boxcar went over Kokura, there was too much cloud cover. So Nagasaki was the fallback position. And the ghastly thing about this was that it was Canada, Britain, and the United States who made the decision that they had to make a decisive nuclear event on Japan. The Canadians and the British wanted no loss of life. They said, we'll just nuke an atoll and make our point. But as I understand it, the Americans said, no, we need to take life. And they had this dreadful conference when they looked at each city and decided in terms of heritage and political importance what they would do. So they didn't choose Tokyo, for example, because then the country would be paralyzed. They chose sort of important but less important cities. And initially it was Kokura was the first choice, and Hiroshima was the second choice. So I just find it sort of so distasteful as a scientist that people sat there sort of working out sort of a yield of lives in the same way that the scientists at Dow Chemical developed napalm to hurt people and use knowledge for such a terrible thing.
And science isn't your only link to World War II, is it, Hal?
No, my great-grandfather was General Sosabowski, who led the Poles into Operation Market Garden in the Rhine, along with the 101st and the 82nd. As you might recall, that Operation Market Garden was a conglomerate of American, British, and Polish soldiers, and General Sosabowski took the Poles in there.
Wow.
And was depicted by Gene Hackman in the movie A Bridge Too Far. Is that correct?
It is, and the thing was, he captured my great-grandfather's character perfectly. And what they did was, they interviewed his son, who was Major Sosabowski, also a war hero, but often in his father's shadow. And there's several sort of nice scenes where his mercurial and intolerant character came out. One of which, when Elliot Gould was explaining that the fog moves around. If you remember, Elliot Gould was sort of the kind of raffish, bumbling weatherman, and General Sosabowski was sort of saying, "The fog, of course it moves," and he was sort of taking Browning on, and he basically argued, which is where I get my character from, I think. But they really sort of spent a lot of time capturing his character. And even if you look at Gene Hackman, he looks like him. If you sort of Google my great-grandfather, they look almost identical.
Yeah, they do.
Let's do some live Googling.
Live Google alert.
Yeah, we need a drop for a live Google, really.
Once we switch over systems, we're definitely gonna have a drops on the constant, all produced by yours truly. Acapella and gorgeous.
Wayne, can anyone see this podcast, or is it just the six of us?
No, it's live on Facebook, Runner.
Yeah. If you go to Wayne's Twitter or Facebook account, you should find a link.
Okay.
So Stanislav Sosabowski,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yeah,
yes.
right.
I got the right one. Good. Share screen. Give me a second.
Hang on.
Hi, Brenna.
So here we go.
Okay.
This is General Stanislav Sosabowski, depicted by Gene Hackman. But that was, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Sean Connery in that movie as well? It was.
Yes, he was Brian Urquhart. He was Brian Urquhart, who led the British in.
Yeah. So to get back to it, so what happened is.
See, that one looks like Gene Hackman, if I may.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but what happened is that you had all these aluminum nitrate. It got too hot, ammonium nitrate, sorry, and it decided to turn into a gas, and it does that at a certain temperature. Then I guess.
Yeah. Can I just do this? I couldn't resist this.
Of course, yeah.
Oh wow.
Man,
That's cool.
that's
Down,
cool.
down, Brenna.
Good.
Restrain yourself, Brenna. Apologies, Professor. She gets like this. When she sees young men in uniform, she just cannot restrain her unbridled urges. And we're working on it day by day.
So I found some pictures of this terrible tragedy, and I'm gonna try to show it to you. Can you see this?
Hello, little one.
Hello.
Hello, this is Serena.
Hi. Adorable.
Hello.
Yeah. So can everybody see my screen now?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah. So here's the area of the explosion before and after.
Can't see a difference.
Yeah. That's because you're from Basildon.
Yeah,
But
but
it's okay.
Oh.
looking through the bottom of your wine glass.
And here you can see the blast
Already.
site and the silos over to your left that got destroyed.
Like the
That's pretty
crater,
major.
the crater, like where, like, do we know, was it stored like underground at least at all, or was it just like on ground level? Do we know
I
that?
could not. Give me a second. What it just says that it was stored in warehouse 12, so I'm guessing above ground. That is.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about an explosion, it goes out in all directions simultaneously to conserve momentum. So the crater doesn't surprise me at all.
Right. Where as if it was put, I don't know, 5 meters down, then we get more of a undulation at the ground level, and then just like something going straight up, which could have potentially saved a lot of people. Like, it's just so irresponsible to store that much of something that close to people and not even store it in any kind of way that if something catastrophic should happen, it minimizes, you know what I'm saying? It minimizes the damage.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm in this country, there's legislation about how much you can store. You almost certainly have to have an operator's license, and you wouldn't be able to store it anywhere near high population density.
But how? You talk about the legislation that we have over here. How did you get through? Obviously, for those that don't know, Hal turned his lab into a hand sanitizer manufacturing plant for the coronavirus, and obviously you have to use certain chemicals, and you can only have a certain amount of those chemicals. How did you get through that legislation to produce what you were doing?
Right. So the only chemical that was, well, there was two actually. The chemical that was legislated for, but not for the reasons that you might think, was absolute alcohol, because it's not that it's dangerous, it's that HMRC don't want people having absolute alcohol, because then you can just add some water to it and sell it without paying any duty on it. So
And HMRC is Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs for our overseas viewers.
There's literally that most alcohol you can buy in the normal course of business has some methanol in it. That's called methylated spirit, and it makes you sick if you drink it. So that people can't drink it without paying duty on it. It's like making moonshine or gin. And they temporarily restricted that because of this very reason, that the supply chain for hand sanitizer dried up. So we had to fill in some papers, and then we could just use as much as we wanted of it. And also the other one you have to have an end user certificate for is hydrogen peroxide, because although that's used for hair bleach, it's also used to make triacetone triperoxide, which is it's the liquid explosive. It's the reason you have to declare any liquids and gels and pastes when you go through airport security now, because some terrorists were trying to make a liquid bomb using things like hair bleach and acetone, which is nail varnish remover.
Isn't what they used in 7.7?
Yes.
I thought so.
But they also, in 7.7, they also had, I think they had one that failed. They tried to use chapati flour because it's got lots of surface area. They didn't spread it out and it didn't work.
That threw me when they said, "Oh, yeah, you can make a bomb out of a chapati flour." I was like, "What?"
But you can make a bomb out of almost anything that's flammable, as long as it's finely divided. So I do demonstrations where I drop finely divided sugar onto a flame, and you get a big ball of flame because it's got lots and lots of surface area. And that's in sugar factories. They're really picky about naked flames and everything being insulated because of that very reason. Icing sugar's the same thing. You can make quite a nice flame out of that.
So just for other people, I completely followed what you guys were talking about. But a what flour? I speak English, not British. You're going to have to translate for me.
Well, it's actually Indian.
Yeah, or Bangladeshi. It's the kind of make the what they call, not poppadoms. What's the other one?
No, chapati bread is like a flatbread. It's Indian Bangladeshi flatbread.
Yeah.
Oh, chapati. That's what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, holy shit. All right. By the way, as we were live Googling, I actually found there are reports that custom officials sent letters to the judiciary seeking guidance on what to do with that ammonium nitrate at least 6 times from 2014 to 2017.
Well,
So we'll just leave it in a warehouse until something goes wrong.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Someone will take care of it.
But
Yeah,
Wikipedia's got a lovely list of ammonium nitrate disasters. There was one in Texas. A factory got blown up.
1947.
Yeah. Every 50 years, people forget.
Let's see. Because I am live googling everything at the moment.
Yeah, he's a regular Einstein when he's got his Google open. Look at him.
I know.
Ammonium nitrate has been associated with a deadly industry accident in 1947. A ship carrying 2,000 tons of the chemical exploded in Texas, killing 581 people.
Oh,
Yeah, it's better than his other browser history. Jesus.
No, don't read from that other tab, please.
yeah.
Please.
Yeah, don't screen share that.
Luckily, I can see them before I allow them on the stream, or else we'd be so demonetized. It's not even funny.
Excellent. So Al, what were you up to today? Because I did see something on Twitter that you was a bit busy to not ring a certain radio station. What were you doing?
But we talked about this. So I genuinely think I was cast into the Mystery Hour. Well, the Mystery Hour is where I met Wayne. It's people phone in with questions and people answer them. But as I said, I phoned 30 or 40 times and they kept hanging up the phone. But I'm making a TV show that you probably would have heard of, but I'm not supposed to tell you what it is. And I've got my quite sweet.
Just text me it. I won't say anything. Just text me it.
They were blocking through the script. And it was very, very sweet. Really, really excited about it.
Okay. And when's that due to come out?
We're doing the filming next week. They're doing the studio filming in September, so it'll be in the autumn. Okay.
Well, let us know, and we'll share all the deets on here and whore it about for you because we're nice like that. You're nice enough to come on the show and impart your wisdom and knowledge upon us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. But I wonder if James is smarting because I spoke to Tom Swarbrick yesterday. It was very sweet. So
no, he's not. Trust me. I spoke to him about it. He's not.
I was teasing. I'm sure he
was very complimentary about your appearance on another show, but he's probably deep down inside very bitter.
I mean, if he'd like to come on and clear his name, I mean, that's fine. I mean, we'll have him on as well. And we don't have to fight. We can all be the belle of the ball.
Yeah, in fact, we could have like a podcast call. We could have James on one side, Hal on the other. We'll just hash this out.
I'll get the layout set up, and I'll just put them on opposing sides. Wayne, can you reach in that cupboard behind you and get your powdered wig out? I'm going to have you be the judge.
Yep.
Or justice. Is that what you guys call them? What do you guys call your judges? Judges?
QCs.
What is that? Come on, man. A
QC. Queen's Council. Oh, they're the top brass.
Everything's got queen attached to it. Her Majesty's this. The Queen's this.
That's because we're a bit of a snide monarchy. And again, you're welcome for your freedom.
I mean...
Take us back.
Thanks.
No, you're right.
Please take us back.
You're done. You made your bed. Lay in it.
Please take us back.
Big orange dictator.
We need you.
Thanks, I guess, but are you planning on returning? Like that's
Take us back.
You can't just plant a seed somewhere and just let it grow all wild. Look at it.
No, we need some cultivating.
The neighbors are complaining.
The neighbors are building walls to keep us out.
Yeah, Hal, we do get quite political on this show, so if there's anything that you're not want to talk about, feel free to just opt out. We're not going to drag you into our depths of depravity and swearing,
which is quite frequent.
Yes.
I'm surprised it's gone as well so far. Speaking of dragging us down to the pits, time to highlight Brenna because it's time for the mid-roll.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to our wonderful podcast. If you are viewing us live or if you're, re-listening to this and listening to the sound of my voice, please remember that we do have a Patreon account and we need your help. Please.
Please.
I'm not even going to beg you. I'm going to tell you.
Oh.
Go to patreon.com/thebinpodcast and become one of our patrons so that you can help us help you, help us help you with getting your information so that you can be informed now.
Nice.
Remember, that is patreon.com/thebinpodcast. We want to make more podcasts. We want to do some fun things, and we will only do that with your help.
Yes, I agree. Here.
Here. And
Oh, we have a friend. Come here.
The friend ran away.
My fur niece is here.
Okay. We also have some very bad news that the live show that was going to be streamed from the UK this weekend is cancelled due to Corona.
Thanks, Rona.
I'm officially in quarantine and cannot travel because the owner of a place where my brother has been working has been diagnosed, has tested positive for Corona, and we need to get tested before we can go anywhere. So we're locked in my brother's house. So, yeah.
So that's our fun weekend gone.
That is our weekend in the shitter.
To be fair, there's worse places you could have been quarantined.
Yes, there is. He has unlimited supply of wine and guitars. Well, the guitars are in the studio, so we can't really go get them because there are other people working there. But we can sit around drinking wine and playing the guitar that is at home, which is the Hippicaster. And if you want to see the Hippicaster, you need to go to patreon.com/thebinpodcast, sign up for Patreon, and listen to the episode called The Musician.
Yeah, that was like our first Patreon exclusive, and that was actually a lot of fun. Speaking of Patreon exclusives, Dr. Landon Curtin-Knoll will be with us, I'm guessing, later tonight. And on the 9th to do his presentation on, let me see. I don't want to get the name wrong. Pull it up right quickly. But he has an entire presentation that he's going to share with us in an effort to bolster our Patreon numbers. Some of the hottest things on Earth, nuclear weapons. And it is an extensive hour and a half with slides and everything. I am going to be sitting there with popcorn, thoroughly enjoying myself with my microphone probably unplugged, because there's a Q&A for the end section, but he only does this a few times a year, and he's been nice enough to say that he'll do it for the show. So
it's really great.
If you guys aren't there, get there, because this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I want to get Howard and Landon together and have like a full-on prof-off and just listen to knowledge bombs getting dropped. We're all just sitting there with our mouths open going, what the fuck is going on there?
We'd be like first row people at Wimbledon, just like, so much.
Yeah.
Let's get Dr. Tobias in on that as well. That would be fun.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, we should have a full-on SmackDown doctor event.
Yes.
Why is it we're all thick as shit, yet we know these really clever people?
They pity us.
It's because we're thick as shit. It's because we're thick as shit, mate.
They're like, if I can just reach out to like Mikey and Wayne, perhaps there's some sort of semblance of a hope for the future. So we give them hope, you know?
Okay, that sounds feasible. But the thing is, Hal, you are an actual teacher constantly. So what is going on with the University of Brighton with regards to September?
Right. So as you wisely know, COVID sort of struck February, March. So we almost, within about 2 days, the decision was made that we would stop. From that point on, lectures were delivered remotely by a number. Effectively, you could do it on Microsoft Teams, or you could make a PowerPoint presentation and annotate it. So we limped through the year. And over the summer, we were sort of asking how are we going to pick things up from September or October. And the choices are you either do it remotely or some other way. And I just said to whoever asked me, I'm just doing my lectures normally, and I'm going to be standing up at a podium, because if we're giving students a bill for £9,000 or £12,000, you can't say, look at a computer to see what you could have done. So what it means is, whereas I could give one lecture to 125, I'll now have to give 4 lectures to 30 or so, because I have to have the distancing still. But I've been spending all my summer measuring the laboratories so that we can find out how many we can do at 2 meters. And we're at about 25% capacity. So we're spending all our time this coming year will be spent doing the teaching, because we can only accommodate far fewer students at once. And I mean, I teach pharmacists, so they have to go through a relatively structured and rigorous curriculum with no flexibility. So we have to do what we have to do. Oxford and Cambridge can afford to do it remotely. We can't, because we are the university of bums on seats. So
and you're building everything down there at the minute.
Yeah, we are. And also, don't forget, it's for the overseas students, they're just conflicted. So, do I come to the UK for 4 hours a week, or what should I do? So the management aren't doing an awful lot to give some sort of consistency and certainty. So it's a big pickle, and the students need to know. And I just think we should be doing everything we can to give them lectures, not looking at some online learning materials, proper lectures, because you need to have that interaction.
Yeah.
Well, what about the students due to graduate this year?
Well, actually, I've graduated this year. As you probably know, I was doing a little law degree under the table. And
a little one. Oh, okay.
Oh, come on.
What just happened there?
Any of you all annoy me and I'll sue you.
All right, so Professor Hal, thank you for being here before I get sued.
Cut the mic.
So this is why Hal was my friend.
we should have graduated this week. We should have graduated this week. So we'll graduate in February.
Oh, really?
Walking across the stage in February. But it's important because technically pharmacists can't do their 1-year internship until they've walked across the stage. So there's all these sort of exclusions been made so that they can technically start their pre-registration year without having graduated, because they're graduands at the minute, not graduates.
So we have Dr. Emma in Sweden. She's a general practitioner. She's our HR department.
Yeah.
Professor Hall, I think you will have to man the legal department for the podcast. So any legal issues, we'll have to run through you. HR issues, we run through her. Dr. Tobias tells us what Shartan should not be doing with his life. And then, I think we've got it all covered.
We do. We need a diplomat as well, because
we got Brenna.
I'll talk to Jesse.
No, we need somebody off cast to do that, off pod.
Yeah, because we could spark an international incident at any point during our burblings.
I don't know what you're talking about. It would never happen. So, Professor Hal, who has never obviously not seen the show, yes, I am the dumbass that are going to get us sued at some point.
Very soon, I feel.
Yeah, or just taken down from all social media.
Yeah, we'd be on our own.
That's half the reason why we need the Patreon supporters to help us out, so I can get some of these other shows kicked off, because I don't know if we're going to be able to do this one for much longer.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
So everybody out there, if you want to have the Bink podcast continue in its glory as is, we need you to go on patreon.com/the Podcast and become a patron. Please, just the highest level you can possibly do. Remember, $100 gets you the chicken show.
Please don't do that. Please.
Please do that.
I did just
For me.
get some birthday money. I did just get birthday money.
Wait a second.
Oh, sorry.
Mikey.
Yes.
Mikey, we need to say this.
Oh.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you. I'm an old man.
Yesterday was Mikey Famon's birthday, and I know I said happy birthday to him.
Wayne didn't.
Wayne did not? Well,
yes, I did. Have a look on your Facebook. Have a look on your Facebook right now. Pull it up. Pull it up right now.
I
Pull it up on your Facebook.
I knew it would turn him up. That's why I said it.
I didn't write on his Facebook. I called him and sang happy birthday to him.
With his whole family.
Oh, how many beers in was that?
You mean bottles of wine? I guess about.
So we're.
And how much Roni did you send down the phone?
There was 4 of them, so I'm imagining at least 6 or 7 bottles, because they were all very friendly. They were so happy.
Were their voices great?
They were so kind. I actually pulled out my what is it called? Johnny Walker Fire and Ice to do a ceremonious shot with him. Forgot I can't drink bourbon like that. And my throat burns to pieces.
Which is a very, very, very good segue, because we normally have our regular feature of what are we drinking?
Ooh.
All right.
Yes, we are.
The booze. Hal, could we start with you? What are you drinking tonight, sir?
My daughter will be disappointed to know I'm drinking some very strange Spanish beer.
Oh, what's it called?
Some very strange Spanish beer.
Yeah, whatever the co-op had left, sadly.
That's how we do.
What's a co-op?
It's a cooperative shop.
What's that mean? Like,
So it's basically a brand. It started off as a cooperative, as in like a community shop, then it turned into chains, and then it became a brand.
Oh.
So
I've never shopped at a
So it
co-op.
went completely opposite of what it was meant for. Is that
yeah,
what you're
pretty much.
saying?
Yeah.
The co-op anti-corporate to brand.
Corporation. Yeah.
To Target Dog.
That's how capitalism works.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm drinking Capital Terroria Marrone
Oh, Madrona.
Very nice.
from Luis Rigetti. Yeah, very good. I'm spoiling myself a bit because I'm in quarantine.
It's your brother's
really
wine.
good.
What do you think you're
No,
spoiling
I
yourself?
bought that.
Yeah, okay.
I bought that.
You went into
I
his
bought-
wine cellar and drank up his stuff. Like, I'm spoiling myself with Charlotte's drinks.
I went wine shopping.
It is the privilege of the younger brother. It's just how things work.
Did you get it
You're
from
going to steal his shit.
Did you get it from the co-op, aka his wine rack?
Yes, I did. Yes. You are correct, sir. Yes, I did.
I'm having rum and the yet to be sponsored energy drink. Come on, guys. You got my emails. I added you.
Because anyone that should be sponsored, it should be this firm. Because I'm on it every week.
Shiraz. I love Shiraz.
There you go. It's quite simple. It's cheap and
Yeah,
cheerful.
I will take some of that if you to send it my way.
I'll send it over your hat. It's still in the box in the living room.
Come on, you had one job.
I know, I'm terrible.
Nah, you've been busy. You've been busy.
Here comes the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You've been busy. It's
To
okay.
be fair, I was going to make a big presentation of a certain someone's hat in person this weekend.
Oh.
Were you gonna
Damn
give
it.
Shartan the hat so then he could send them to us?
Yeah. On your way back, can you just pop into America and just drop these off?
Just go around the long way, Becco.
Yeah.
Throw them out the
So
plane.
let's do this. I think that unless Hal has something he would like to add about what happened in Beirut, we'll thank Hal for his participation tonight, and we'll go over to the more political stuff. And you don't want to be here for that, mate.
Nobody wants to be here for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't want to get. No, we don't want to get you sacked.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty.
We are grossly inappropriate.
Okay, so I'm going to go do some children's stuff. It's been a real pleasure. Is this a weekly thing, or am I a guest speaker? Or... Okay.
Yes,
every single week. So, Hal, would we be able to call upon you with any other sciencey, chemistry kind of stuff, or actual legal stuff in future? Would that be something?
I'm here to help.
Awesome,
mate. Thank you so much. I really, mate, because it was a bit of a last minute thing. So I really appreciate that you took the time to come on here, mate.
To Hal.
To Hal.
Okay.
Here.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining us. We hope to see you again back on the Bin podcast as soon as possible. And have a great night, mate.
Cheers, mate. I'll give you a call after the show.
Well, that was nice. What a nice guy. What a nice guy. I like him.
Great.
He's literally the most knowledgeable person I know when it comes to pretty much everything.
But you know, some of these like super bright, smart people have a hard time explaining things. Who is making that noise?
Cortez.
I don't know what you're doing, mate, but stop it now.
Check your connection. Check your connection, and then I'll unmute you, or you can unmute yourself.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Some of these like super smart people have a hard time explaining things in a way that a dumbass like me can understand it, right? And Hal did not have that issue at all.
No.
He's got children.
That's what.
All right.
Oh,
I don't know what you're moving about, Cortez, but stop.
No, but that's why he's an educator, and that's why he's
so being a teacher is what I've been learning my entire life is that it's a performance art.
Yes.
And so when you're teaching, you have to perform. You have to keep your audience on you. And so there's a big difference between a teacher and an intelligent person.
Yeah.
And
100%.
And so you can have a highly intelligent person and they can't teach. I had many a professor that could not teach worth a damn, but very, very smart. And then I had some of the best teachers teaching me. So it really is a performance art. It really, especially when you're looking at, adults. Adults are very, very hard to teach.
You have to be a supremely eloquent orator to be able to basically tell a story, to keep someone engaged and to keep someone wanting to learn more about the subject. And that's what people like Hal do. Because when he's explaining something, he's very much like not talking to you like you're an idiot. He's telling you a story which is involving his knowledge, and you pick it up more because you're actually listening and engaged to the story that's being told. And it's a talent, like you say, Brenna. It's an absolute talent.
It's something that not a lot of people really understand, and I appreciate anybody who can really just. And you're right. When somebody doesn't talk down to you, you feel a lot better about what they're saying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I fell asleep. Are you two still talking?
Speaking of talking down, speaking of talking down to people, I'm glad Professor Hall was here, but now we need to get into the shits.
Yes, we do.
Fucking rowdy dowdy up in this bitch. We're gonna talk about this fucking Trump Axios interview in all of its glory.
Oh.
No, and what we're going to do is we are going to read a transcript.
Yes.
Without making.
I've actually got some. I've got some of Trump's graphs here. If you look.
Oh my god!
It's a coloring book.
Fantastic. All right.
Look, Sienna could probably read a graph better than this man.
Yes. So we're going to start about 9:10:05 into, and who's going to be Jonathan Swan? Is that you, Mikey?
Oh, put the link in the side thing so I can pull it up.
Give me a second.
I'll be him. I'll be him. This is I actually watched this right before we did our pre-pro meeting, and I mean, best of luck to the guy. He tried, you know, he did the best he could do. But when you're dealing with the force of nature,
when people don't make sense, it's getting hard to read what they're saying because you expect something that you read to make sense at some point.
it's like when I was reading that thing that was in that different kind of English, and I was like, wait, am I wrong? Wait, are my eyeballs are broken?
Yeah.
All right, where are we starting?
Well, because our brain wants patterns, and so if something's not a pattern, it doesn't fit together. We go crazy.
It was it's the words that come out of his mouth are literally like if you took a magic 8-ball and put it in a paint shaker. Like it's just there's no telling what he might say next. What's your time? What time stamp are you starting at there?
9:25.
Oh,
9:25.
Way past. Let me go back.
Yeah.
And I am Jonathan Swan.
Yes, you are.
Tip of the tongue. Tip of the tongue. Tip of the tongue.
Sibilance.
Sibilance. When can you admit by what date that every American will have access to the same day testing that you here in the White House?
Well, we have great testing. We're doing, and many other people do.
By what date?
Let me explain the testing. We have tested more people than any other country, than all of Europe put together times 2. We have tested more people than anybody ever thought of. What? India has 1.4 billion people. They've done 11 million tests. We've done 55. It'll be close to 50 million tests. And there are those that say you can test too much. You do. And there are those that... And there are those that say you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Oh, just read the manual. Read the books.
Manuals?
Read the books. Read the books.
What books?
What testing does.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry.
Let me explain. What testing does, it shows cases. It shows where there are many B cases. Other countries test. You know what they test? They test that when somebody is sick. That's when they test. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. Nobody has done it like we've done it. We've got absolutely no credit for it. But we come up with so many different tests. The only thing that we know is some people have to wait longer than we'd like them to. We want it.
That's a big problem.
We want point to point. We want to have 5-minute or a 15-minute test.
Right. When do you think?
And we have, and like many others,
every American.
And from what I understand, we're close to 50%. And where there is no point test, we are making thousands of instruments, thousands of test trays now, tens of thousands, and they can be distributed to various parts of the country. But you have to understand, and we even sent some to other countries where they have big problems. Jonathan, almost 50%, in fact. I think the number might be, Jesus, I can't do this.
We got to stop. It's just so... The patience of this poor man.
I can't keep my lunch down right now. This is, my head is spinning. Like, I don't even know what the hell is going on.
It's
and this is the leader of the free world. Are you fucking insane right now?
But this is a huge problem because we've known this for a long time, that Trump has this obstructionist way of doing interviews in which he doesn't answer a question, he just continues to talk. And that's a problem because what he talks about doesn't make any sense. So when we actually want answers about something that's killing people, he just avoids the question.
I have very nice words, the best words, the biggest words.
Exactly. And then he just continues to just puke them out while we, the Americans, are dying by the thousands a day because he won't answer a damn question.
I think what's going on with him is he surrounds himself with yes men all of his life, and he creates a narrative. When someone has an alternative narrative that is actually, I don't know, fact based, he goes off on one. Like the point where the interviewer was trying to say, "I'm talking about death as in a proportion of the population," and gives him the South Korean death rate to the population. And says, that's what I'm comparing it to. He's like, oh, you can't do that. It's about the cases. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm not counting cases. I'm counting how many people have actually died as a percentage of the population. That's what we should be worried about.
Right.
And he was like, no, you're wrong. And you shouldn't be reporting it. I'm like, what? No, this is your governor. This is your boss.
You should be ashamed of yourself for asking me that question.
Yeah.
That's a really nasty question.
No, but when he says you're not reporting it right, and he goes, I think I am. I was like,
You're not a very good journalist.
Yeah.
Yeah. But after this goes haywire. So, Mikey, if you go to 11:22 and let's do a little bit more of this.
Why are we not doing videos?
I was because we don't want our channel to get copyright strikes because it's from HBO and they don't play.
Yeah.
And we are live, so we can't.
Man, HBO.
And they will take all $30 that we've earned in the last 5 years. It's not worth it.
I'll get Hal on it straight away.
Ow!
Seize your laptop.
Better call Hall.
Oh.
All right, you got it. 11:22.
Yeah. So
11:22.
So I cheated and I scrolled down to see if he ever answered the question, and I was into the 4 minutes past where we started, Mark, and I was like, I give up. Like,
Yeah.
He does this shit forever.
Yes.
I understand. There's nothing you can do about that. And then I say, but when do you think you will have it for everyone? What day?
I think you will have that relatively soon. I mean,
What does that mean?
you already have half.
Yeah.
I would rather much get back to you
Okay, that's fine.
because I don't want to have to you write in 1 month. I didn't make it.
That's fine.
I missed it by a day,
Yeah, I get it.
and it's a headline.
Mr. President, I want to talk about the federal intervention.
Excuse me. One thing I would say about testing,
Yeah.
because we test so much, we show cases. So we show many cases. We show tremendous number of cases. Oh God, I hate when it does that. I know you're smiling when I say that, but I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, I've heard you say this.
I know other countries don't test like we do, so they don't show cases.
Just a couple of points on that. I wasn't going to continue on the testing, but you said it. So we're testing so much because it's spread so far in America, and when you...
We're testing so much because we had the ability to test.
Okay.
Because we came up with the test.
But South Korea...
Jonathan, we didn't even have a test. When I took over, we didn't have a test. Now, in all fairness... it's just, why would they have a test? And the virus didn't fucking exist before you came into power, you dumb fucking idiot. Like, is this a fucking thing? Is this really happening? Like, I came up with it because we didn't have a test before I was president. Yes,
Obama.
But this is exactly what he wants. He wants his supporters to believe that it's Obama's fault.
Obama didn't even make up a test for this disease.
There was no disease at this time. And actually, how do I not like get this into these people's minds?
The thing is
that Trump dismantled, defunded, fired the people who were in charge of the pandemic response, that we knew, they knew, everybody knew that we were going to go through something like this. And the idea was that they set this up so that we could actually respond in a timely manner.
And save lives.
Obama set it up. Trump knocked it down.
If aliens turned up tomorrow, Trump would blame Obama for not having alien defenses in place. That's the kind of shit that people are swallowing now. It's just too. It's become religious. It literally has become religious with Trump.
It's cult. It's cult. It's
culty.
It's. I mean, there's religious, and then there's cult-like religion. That's what this is. This is people who believe that they are thinking for themselves, but in reality, they are being fed it, and then they just repeat it.
Like Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool someone than it is to convince them that they've been fooled.
Yeah.
And that's what you're getting. I mean, it's across the board when it comes to politics. So it's not like the left are devoid of such cultish things. I mean, if you look at Jeremy Corbyn over here or Bernie Sanders, the old Bernie bros and everything, people would not have a word said about these particular politicians, even when they did fuck up. So it's not specific to the right and specific to the MAGA wankers, but it is something that
I want to push back a little bit there, because I think for a lot of progressive candidates, it kind of isn't the case. Like, there's the Bernie bros, but were the Bernie bros like a huge thing, or were they something that went viral? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between something that's easy to highlight, and there's something that's a larger issue. So if I highlighted a couple of sentences out of a book, those sentences were easier to see, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily representative of the entire book. So I think the Bernie Bros is kind of like a right-wing kind of scapegoat, where there's 40 douchebags in tank tops and short shorts with some boat shoes on, acting like complete fucking knobs. But then they say, then don't forget about all the Bernie Bros that were supporting Bernie. Yeah. It's like, they're easy to target, but I don't know that those actually represent any sort of
But to say that they don't exist would be disingenuous.
Right.
To say that they don't exist.
And I'm not saying that they don't exist, but I just think when Bernie Bros are brought up as a response to progressive radicalism, I think it's kind of bullshit, because there was not that many of them, and the only reason we know about them is because of cell phones, and because they, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think everybody was going to the polling places and they were just Bernie Bros surrounding me from it wasn't really a thing like that. I don't know.
No, I get that, but I just think what we need to do is not to add false equivalence, but highlight the fact that those people do exist, because what we don't want to do is then again go into that echo chamber area. And I think the fact that we can, all of us here can sit there and say that there's an extreme right and an extreme left, and we're just kind of milling about in the middle somewhere trying to figure out what's going on.
I am not in the middle. I am not in the middle.
No, what I'm saying is we're not sitting on an extreme. We're sitting here. I'm
extreme. I'm peaceful, but I'm extreme.
No, you're a prick. There's a difference.
Let's I don't think we've ever actually done this on the show. When there's right, center, and left, where do we all fall?
I would say I was definitely left of center, but at the same time I appreciate certain elements of the right.
Yeah, let's do it this way. So left is 1, center is 3, right is 5. So that you can have that place in the center. I think I'm at a -4.
No, but then you're not really setting up. You're not setting up a fair narrative. You need to have the center as 0 and -1 and +1
but
as left or right.
In politics, there's nuance of where you are.
Yeah, because this is the thing. Have you ever done the political calculator, where you give you a series of questions?
I believe I've done some quiz, survey, not quiz.
Yeah, and where did you fall?
It said progressive, but my what's it called have changed dramatically. I'm very fuck everybody at this point.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it'll be a good experiment for us to all do one of them and then come back next week with our results. But use the same one.
Homework.
I think that'd be quite interesting.
Yeah. So this is good. Let's all say what we think we are, and then we'll all take the same quiz, and then we'll post the results for what we actually ended up as.
Yeah. So, Jartan, as you're good at live Googling, because it's what you do.
Yes.
if you want to find a political calculator or something like, I think a political compass, I think it's called, send us the link in the group chat. We'll all do it and just compare as to where we all are. I think that'd be quite an interesting.
Oh, sorry. Where are you at, Brenna?
I'm about left progressive. I might be if you know. I shift depending on the topic as well as what we're talking about, because something like where I live in Orange County, like, to be progressive means you're not going to get anything done fast because there's far too many of the conservatives, and so you have to slowly shift things, and we have. And so, you know, in about 10 years, we're going to be progressive. So I need to look at this from where I am and how to get shit done. Whereas for the more broad, for the more national stuff, I'm far more on the progressive side. So it really does depend on it, but I would say mostly progressive.
I think
Wayne, go ahead. Sorry.
I think the last time I did it, I came out as a libertarian, liberal Democrat, something like that. It was a long time ago that I did it, but I have to, in a town that I live, like you, Brenna, I've got a lot of people that I have to bite my tongue a lot of the times to stop getting into fights or disagreements or just saying, you're actually stupid. But I mean, I remember there was a couple that came in a couple of weeks ago to the pub, and this guy used to own a pub in the East End of London. He was a northern fella, and his missus was from down here. And he was saying, like, oh, we used to own a pub, and she was talking about politics. Oh, they're all rubbish, these politicians. You know who we need? Nigel Farage. And I just looked at her and went, okay. Okay, Karen.
Here we
By the way, speaking of Nigel Farage, I just want to say when he visited the U.S., he visited Orange County. That's where he went.
Yeah, for the tacos, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Look, Mikey, we've had this conversation before. The tacos here are better than anywhere else in the world.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I know this shit.
You say that, but you don't know that. I don't believe you when you say
at least you don't have a casserole that you call pizza.
Stop it.
No, we don't.
Stop.
We have flatbread.
Yeah, what is it about a Chicago pizza? It's just a lasagna without lasagna.
It's bread bowl. You
Stop.
Dump in the
Stop.
You cover it with a little bit of cheese.
And this is why we're going to have BinCon in Chicago. I'm going to force each and every one of you assholes to enjoy. Because as much as y'all want to fucking act like it's not pizza,
no.
It's fucking good.
Yes. I'm not saying it's not good.
Pizza
I'm not saying
is
it's
done
probably
a service by the deep dish contribution to the community. You're
calm down. Calm down.
Oh, hang on a minute. Mikey, isn't that cultural appropriation?
No, that is cultural enrichment. You're welcome.
I'm leaning back now. I'm leaning back.
Go ahead, Shark Time. I'm sorry. Shark Time, where are you on the spectrum? Because these assholes want to try to trigger me when I'm trying to fucking get some shit done.
Things are getting hot.
No, I'm very far left. I'm not communist, but I'm as socialist as they come. So yeah, I'm very far left. I don't know where on the spectrum of American politics that I would fall, because our political system and our parliamentarism is very different from yours. We don't have a two-party system. We have lots of parties, and yeah, it just works in a very different way. But when I don't vote for the Communist Party, but I vote for the closest thing to it without being a communist.
Yeah. So make your vote actually count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because there's certain political parties and certain political systems where, like you guys have over in the States, third party candidates never going to win until you have a massive shift. massive shift.
There's got to be a big change in how we elect anybody if we're going to get that. Right now, we actually have, at least the states, have something very close to considering it to be a third party, like Bernie Sanders. He's an independent, which is what works very well for Vermont, where everybody is well-off white people, right? So an independent works. But and then here in California, we actually have a no party preference. It's actually considered a political party,
right?
Because of the numbers. So no party preference is actually a party. It's very similar to independent. But yeah, so we do have this kind of at least three party system going on. It's never going to work out in the presidential election without major changes.
Who was that lady that's just won her election? She's a progressive, and a lot of the left that I watch were going mad about it.
She's from St. Louis, Corey Bush.
Yeah.
Go Corey Bush. Shout out Corey Bush. Go ahead, girl. Who won them votes? She won them votes. That's right. Go ahead, girl. From my hometown.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I noticed there was a lot of like people that I watch who are on the left, like Carl Kalinske, your man from the Humanist Report, all banging on about her. I've never heard of her, but they're all like, "Oh yeah, she's going to be part of the squad now," and they're getting numbers and all this kind of thing. And I was like, "Okay, let me look into her a bit, but tomorrow because I'm busy. I've got a kid."
And wait till that kid can feed itself, then we can make Wayne do all this extra work.
Yeah, it really is.
I would just wait.
I would have been in it a lot earlier, but you saw the picture. I was like, and the thing is, she's at this stage now where she doesn't want to be put down. She little fake sleeping, like a drape over my shoulder. She's like this, right? And then she's like doing that, that little sleep noise that baby does. And then you think, right. No, that's just me. But she has this little, and she's asleep. Right, and I'm like, sweet, I'm in the clear here. Put her down.
It's you and zero.
So as soon as I put her down, she's like this in a little chair.
Yeah.
It's like when you doze off in the car and then someone hits the brakes and then you expect that you're in a car accident. It's just like, what's happening?
Oh yeah, but it's like all four limbs just go out, and it's just like
she's just like her daddy. She doesn't like change.
No, yeah.
She's a goalkeeper. She's a little goalkeeper. We'll get her
thank you, Mike, for redeeming me.
Get some big ass gloves.
Yeah, we'll get her some double thick gloves. We don't want her to go down like her old pops.
No, those fingers. Fingers are precious.
I can't even put them together. That's how broke it is.
I thought they put pins in there to help it.
Oh look, this hand, look, see, normal. This hand can't. I'm permanently Vulcan.
You're welcome. Nanu.
Nerds.
Yeah.
Nanu.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
While I'm wearing my crop. Have you seen these things before?
Wow.
So
is that a mashup?
I've seen those things before. No, I mean, yeah, my shirt.
Brenna,
oh my God!
What?
If that's a Millennium Falcon and NCC 17013 mashup, what's on the other side? Just lift it up and.
Oh, Wayne! Bad Wayne.
All right, I'm ready, Dr. Emma.
I'm so proud of you, Wayne. I'm so proud.
Get me.
No, stop it, boys. That is toxic masculinity, and we will not tolerate that here. Both of you are in timeout.
We've just
only reason we're allowed to do that because Brenna can kick our fucking ass every single day of the week.
And Mikey, can we go back to what Jartan said earlier? I'm so far left, I'm nearly communist. Then comes out with that.
Only reason I'm allowed to do that is because I'm scared as shit of Brenna, and if I ever meet her, she is gonna kill me.
She is literally texting Dr. Emma right now. She's not fucking with you. You better watch your ass.
Yeah,
Don't go back to your house.
yeah.
Don't go back to your house has been compromised.
I would just like to say that was just literally performance art from myself.
And scene.
It's
All right.
Might I say?
I sent her a message.
Might I say that?
You guys are fucking dead.
I'm phoning Hal.
You guys are fucked.
I'm never going back to Sweden, dude. I'm never going back.
Your street is compromised.
Might I say that the two-party system doesn't necessarily work, and one of the reasons why it doesn't work is like
introduce yourself.
I felt like talking.
No, hi. Introduce yourself because your voice hasn't been on yet.
Oh, okay.
Podcast, remember?
Hello, Ben Podcast. It's Cortez, Soul Reaper 2-4, Shay Cortez. And today has been a very, very thing to me. Everything. I have 6 messages saying that my accounts were all attempted to be hacked this morning at 12 a.m.
What?
I didn't realize this. And, Google, Facebook, the whole 9, all of them got attacked today. So someone's been trying to break into my account. It didn't work, of course.
What's your password again? I'll just check.
Password. Capital S.
It's
Capital P.
BLOM, the number 3.
Okay.
I got a response from Emma, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Oh, really?
That was lightning fast.
She says, I don't know what they've done, but I'm sure they are, because I said that you guys are jerks.
What, you guys? Did you name names?
I said these boys.
What? You need to be specific. I had nothing to do with this.
You let this happen.
I excoriated them on air.
No,
Brenna,
you let this happen.
I don't want to get shotgunned.
Brenna, she knows you're not talking about me because I'm a man.
No, you're part of this.
I made 2 girls. I'm officially a man.
Yeah.
I don't like being lumped in with the same toxic behavior of my pod mates. Like, I don't feel like that's fair.
You're here every fucking week.
I'm just Cortez. I'm just Cortez. I'm not one of the boys. I'm just Cortez. I refuse to be included in this box.
Oh, look
anybody
at
that's not just Cortez.
Look at these wankers just chucking us under the bus.
No, I'm not.
It weren't me. It weren't me. It was him. It was the bigger boys. It was the bigger boys. It weren't me.
I'm not racist.
It was those Europeans. The Europeans don't know how to act. Us Americans know how to treat women properly. You know.
Technically, I'm British, not European now.
Oh,
I know,
shit,
seriously. I'm sorry.
Although, look, I'm wearing my Chicago shirt.
Oh.
What's Bullet Club?
Cortez, look at my shirt.
What's Bullet Club? You can tell me what it is.
Bullet Club is a faction formed in New Japan Wrestling.
New Japan.
And it's New Japan, yeah. But they have had many members, and many of those members have left Bullet Club and gone on to pastures new. But you'll find that out when the hot tag launches soon.
Soon, indeed. And I'm working on y'all's layout. It's going to be very. I'm thinking for y'all's theme, Ultimate Warrior.
No.
Yes.
No.
The layout will be.
We're
very
gonna pass on the Ultimate Warrior. No, we can't do the Ultimate Warrior.
What's wrong with the Ultimate Warrior?
He was a dick.
Besides some raping misogynist, and racist, we're gonna go.
Yeah,
right,
you might want to consult us first before you start giving us Brandon.
We don't promote misogynism on the show.
Yeah, and don't do Hulk Hogan either.
Misogyny.
Or Marty Jannetty.
just do the Nation of Domination. That's great. We can do the Nation of Domination.
All right, I'll put put something together with those.
Marty Jannetty. Hey, Wayne, we're going to talk about Marty Jannetty on the first episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this is insane.
Speaking of crazy people, about Trump and about also in the Axios interview, it's further down.
Jesus.
What was her name? I can never think of her name. What's the Epstein girl?
Maxine.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, that one.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Max.
You're going to crosstalk. Mr. President, the other day, a reporter asked you about Ghislaine Maxwell. You said, "I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is." End quote. Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well? Let's go around the horn. What do you think his response was, and what do you think it should have been? Brenna, you're first on the docket.
Well, let's think about what Trump says about people who who do bad things. Well, they've only met once, right? Or a few times. They don't really know each other. That's what I think he'd say, that he has no idea who really this person is, basically. What he should have said was, now that I know this is going on, I should never have said that. That's horrible, and I hope justice is served. That's what he should say.
That is a well-reasoned response to a fairly obvious question. Wayne, your take on the matter.
Well, I know what he said, and I personally think if he was a man of any integrity or character, he would have said, "Do you know what? I misspoke on that. I was caught on the hoof. I just want justice to run its course. I want there to be no impediment to trial, and that's pretty much the end of the matter. I can't speak, and I don't want to prejudice a court case."
Cortez, your take on the matter.
Look, man, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this.
Remember the question format before you go.
Mm-hmm.
The president is an idiot.
You're not answering correctly.
That being said,
Yeah.
No. Follow the template, fool. So what you have to say is,
okay, fine.
What do you think he said, and what should he have said? Answer that first, and then go.
He said that he wishes her well, and he doesn't know her that well, but he's met her a handful of times. What he should have said was, "While I don't particularly know her, I hope that justice is served, and I'm going to leave that up to our judicial system that we trust in America," because he's the president of the United States and not, let's say, a hockey player. You're the highest official in the country.
Yeah.
And on top of it, they have mentioned to him what she was arrested for.
It was in the question.
And he says it anyway. And what is disgusting about it is there's evidence that he knows these people.
Can I just highlight a little difference between our media system and your media system? Once charges are brought,
you got 720p, right?
No. When charges are brought, a broadcaster cannot do anything to prejudice a jury, so they cannot talk about details of any particular case until that case is being heard, and then they can report on what was said in court. They cannot, or broadcast media, I think it's different with print media, they cannot broadcast anything that would prejudice a case, whereas the print media pretty much have carte blanche to do whatever they want and vilify people all the time. So there's a disparity now, two types of media, but it's completely different to how you guys have it. Because I mean, you have like cameras in court, didn't you?
Yes, but a lot of that is not available to the public. That's just as opposed to having the stenographer, they take the video now.
Yeah.
Court recordings as a
there are a few times in which the press may enter, but it's only for very specific times during the trial.
Yeah.
And it usually has nothing to do with the meat and bones of it.
Okay.
No, it's usually the opening, closing statements.
That's usually all the press are allowed to.
Oh no, it's just we see a lot of stuff like trials over here, like R. Kelly. We saw obviously O.J. Simpson. We saw all of that stuff. So
yeah, you guys only saw small portions of those trials.
Yeah. Well, this is one I'm here to learn from actual Americans. I'm not here to,
being quite familiar with the court system. One of the ways that they do it is to say that there is a clear and concise, non-bias, and pretty much allowing the public to know what's going on here, so they're not railroading people. But how they get around it is they don't let you take pictures. They don't let you bring in recordings. You can't take your own evidence. If something happens, a certain number of people were. The only person going to do anything is the person that wrote down. You'll be able to see those whole trials. Very, very seldom.
Are you on the Wi-Fi right now? You glitched out.
Very seldom.
Are you on your Wi-Fi right now? You glitched out for us for a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi. It's got all my bars up. Yeah, there's nobody else on it either.
If you could just restate it real quick, because a lot of a couple of chunks got subtracted.
I'll say it again. Let me know if it cuts out again.
Yeah.
They like to have transparency with court proceedings in this country to prevent people from being railroaded or for things not being fair in court. And the public does have a right to know, but they do have private trials, and a lot of high-profile trials are closed to the public, which means that the media is only going to be there for maybe 5 to 10 minutes out of the 2 hours that you guys are in court. So the media can report what they were allowed to be there for, but they can't take video, they can't take audio recordings, they can't do any of those things. Now, if it's on closed circuit television and it was in the proceedings and agreed to by both sides to televise it, then they'll televise the trial. But that hardly ever happens because the prosecution, and I'm saying this as somebody who knows, the prosecution does not want to let the public see their tactics or let the public have an opinion. Because if the public has an opinion of perceived guilt or innocence, the public will try to sway the decision. Because if they find someone guilty that we perceived as innocent, there's going to be civil unrest. And they don't want that in this country.
So here's the actual response. Why would you wish such a person well? Asked Jonathan Swan. Well, first of all, I don't know that, but I know this. What the fuck? And then Jonathan jumps in. She's been arrested for that. You know that. Her friend or boyfriend, Epstein, was either killed. Like, he won't even say his name. He won't even say the dude's name because he knows that he's implicated with him.
He doesn't want to associate. It's incredible.
He doesn't want it in his mouth.
He doesn't even want to acknowledge the dude's name when fuck well you know who she is and you know who he is. You lying cunt.
Can I remind you guys about him? This is the same guy that paid $80,000 for multiple newspaper outlets and television time to try and get the death penalty for the Central Park Five.
Yeah.
Yep.
Before they ever had a trial.
Yep.
So,
we're talking about kids.
So we're at 2605. It says Jonathan Swan says Epstein, and then Trump says was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish you well. I guess he meant her. It is hard to read this, Chardin. You're not lying. Yeah, I wish you well. I'd wish you well. I wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, you do know that and then there's crosstalk. So that's perfectly timed with the Central Park 5 thing because those young men were proven fucking innocent. And he didn't give a motherfuck about them. But this bitch has clearly been implicated in a bunch of nasty fucking shit having to do with fucking kids. And all you can say is, first of all, I don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't know that? You didn't know that those fucking Central Park 5 kids were fucking guilty either, but it didn't stop you from putting out a fucking full-page article in the New York Times about their fucking guilt. You fucking monster.
Yeah.
But did you notice how he sort of slipped in subliminally a little bit of a conspiracy theory in the sense of he
Yes, he does it all the time.
He offered ambiguity about the whole Epstein death. He's like, oh, her boyfriend was committed suicide or was killed, and he again to exonerate himself. He mentioned her boyfriend. He didn't say, again, like you say, his name.
Hold on,
Hillary Clinton.
What this does is that if they find out that Epstein was killed, then he's continually denying. And then to this point, he's now saying, oh, he could have been killed. So it makes him like, oh no, like I said he could have been killed.
Yeah.
So there was a hit out on him. He's, up with all these people.
Yeah. So what he's doing is introducing what's the word? Plausible deniability.
He
by saying
that,
I didn't say his name and I didn't say him. I said he could have been or he may have.
Yeah.
And that exonerates him from any responsibility.
He did the same thing with hydroxychloroquine or whatever.
Yeah.
He did the same thing. He's like, it could work, it could not work, it may work, and then he switched it the next week. So I'm using it right now.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's this idea that the past doesn't exist for him.
Yeah.
I see it a little bit differently. I think that was a threat.
Really? I was trying to. Mikey's going down.
No, I think it was too. No, I think that was
she's going to rap.
Mm-hmm. I think that was a threat.
Well, in 2016, Donald Trump had a lawsuit placed against him that also named Jeffrey Epstein and his residence as for sexual harassment and sexual assault of a 16-year-old girl. And the girl's name has, of course, been redacted from the papers, but in the case dropped and it quietly went away. But he's already linked with them. And the threat was, open your mouth, and that's what happens to you.
Yeah, let me reread it here. Whether he was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's in jail now. Yeah, I wish you well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, you know what that is a threat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sort of expand on your conspiracy theory too much because I don't really want to push that kind of thing. But that kind of fits with the.
I think it was a threat too.
That fits with the Stormy Daniels testimony.
Yes, Stormy Daniels is named on those flight logs.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
this is exactly why Trump doesn't want.
She was a longtime concubine mistress of Donald Trump.
Donald Trump wants to stay in office because once he steps out of office, he will get arrested. He will. There's no doubt in my mind. So
do you think that he's using the office as his immunity from prosecution, and that's why he's 100%. Trying to do everything he can to stay in?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we've just turned into left-wing info wars.
What about trying to delay the election?
But if you look at it logically, in a logical sense, while he's president, he cannot get arrested, and he knows this because we already impeached him, and nothing happened once it went into the Senate because he's protected. Once he gets out of that office, once he becomes a private citizen, he now is under all the laws, and he is no longer protected by his position.
Things he did before his presidency that new evidence has shown that he's implicated in, he is now liable for.
Yes. So he's going.
And there's no statute of limitations on most of those things.
And especially the things that happened while he was running.
It's not only that.
Because he was not in office during that time. That's why this Flynn stuff, this Michael Flynn stuff is so important. He was not in office at that time.
Right.
But even if there is a statute of limitations, he still could be done under the same thing that Bill Cosby got done for.
Yeah, so I believe New York extended rape, and I believe that's no longer has a statute of limitations, or it's just 15 years or something. I know New York extended their statute of limitations on rape.
Isn't that why your man from the Southern District got sacked or fired? I saw that recently, and I was like, "Oh, come on, that's so blatant. That's so blatant. This geezer who's investigating you, he just happens to get sacked."
Yeah. So
out of here.
There is not just political reasons why Trump needs to stay in office or he wants to stay in office, but there are legal reasons as well. I mean, this is absolutely no joke anymore. This man is abusing the Constitution for his own gain.
Well, the Emoluments Clause is something that I don't understand why no one's like throwing their arms up in the air about. Because if you're the president and you go to your own gaff and you've got all the civil servants there, Secret Service, they're all staying in your rooms and you're getting money from that. You're not making any bones about it. You're saying, yeah, they are staying here. They have to.
Not only that, but they're like charging 10 times the amount.
Right. They're jacking the price way up.
Because they have to, for security purposes. So not only are they making money off it, they're making more than any if they stayed anywhere else. So we're paying for presidential. We're paying for the normal presidents would go to Camp David. We're paying for the security there as it stands, regardless of if he uses it.
But Camp David is a state-owned facility, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's no cost.
It's set up. So we're paying for it. We're paying for it for our military.
And again,
our military budget has on that.
So when people point out to these MAGA nutcases about when he used to bang on about Obama going golfing, and yet he's golfed in a massively, massively greater way at a greater cost to the American taxpayers in the 3 and a bit years that he's been in. Why does that not resonate with people? Because he used it as a massive tool to bash Obama. Yet when he's doing it to, I don't know, 5-fold the amount of times, no one bats an eyelid. All these Fox News twats don't worry about it.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Is that in this, trying to point out the hypocrisy of your resident president at the point, it's just gonna, like, we could go on for fucking hours, right? There's a tweet for everything.
Sorry, Jartan, when you said resident president, it reminded me of a Five lyric. I'm the resident president. I'm the fifth element.
Oh Jesus!
I'm sorry. I was never a part of a vocal harmony group, so I don't know that song.
So when is Scott going to join us? Apparently, we need him now.
So I think we're gonna try and get Scott and Clara on at the end of the month.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: is that
People.
it's almost a bit boring talking about all the times, because we could have a whole show of us just sitting there and reading all the times that he've gone back on what he said earlier or tweeted about, or the Central Park 5, or all of these things, because it's just apparent. I don't know. Do we really have to go over it one more time?
Well,
No, but go on. Sorry.
it's interesting you say that, because I will be on the Atheist Six Pack. I can't remember the actual name of the channel, but Atheist Pastor, good buddy of mine, he's invited me onto his show next Friday at 6 a.m. Goddamn Australia being on the wrong side of the earth. And me and Chris usually bump heads because he kind of has like this boy who cried wolf for everybody who's not a Trump supporter. And I'm like, but you don't understand that it's a lot of shit that's going on. And I know that it sounds exhausting and it can get very boring, but that's only boring because it's so much content to go through. It's so many things that no other politician could have gotten away with, because that's not how we run. Like, yes, the American political system is fucked, but this dude is literally outside of the fucking pen shitting on the mailbox. Like, we are in a brave new world where this guy is not doing any of the other shit that all the other fuck-ups were doing. Like, we were used to the other fuck-ups. This guy is a fuck-up among fuck-ups. So it sounds a boy cried wolf, and I know it can be boring for people who don't live here, but every day it seems like almost every day he's doing something to hurt a marginalized group, or he's putting the U.S. in danger.
Absolutely. What
And this is actually an international thing as well, because everybody has seen how successful Trump is about ruining the system. And what's going to happen is that we're going to get more of this Trump everywhere, whether or not it's in politics, whether or not it's in business. It's going to end up being a worldwide thing, and people are going to suffer. I mean, we're already seeing people suffer because of the incompetence that Trump has really kind of brought to light, whether or not it was before his time or not. But it's really showing the problems with our politics.
Not even just that. I'm 100% on with you. He's a bully. Okay, we're gonna call it for what it is. He's a bully. He feels as if he can do whatever he wants, when he wants, and how many times he wants to whoever he wants. And that's a major problem that we have with dealing with this person, because for the last 30 years, there's evidence, like Jartan said, there's evidence of all the things he's done and said to prove that's what he is. And we're following this bully politics style now in this country.
No, not just in your country. Not just in your country. This has spread.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say this to follow up on your point, Brenna, because Bolsonaro models himself on Trump. Literally says he's who I want to be. I want to be a leader like Trump, and he's in charge of a country that has got a massive problem with the coronavirus, like America, and doesn't really give a crap about the little people. As long as he's all right. Oh, and then he copped it, didn't he? Never mind. Shame that. But you're right in what you say. It is a model because it's a successful model, and people want to emulate that because they want power. And where does that go? Where does that go when the in-group is okay? The people that are supporting me are okay. Everyone else must be suppressed, repressed, and trodden on. And that's exactly what he's doing. That's what Bolsonaro is doing. That's what all these other tin pot dictators are doing around the world. And it's scary because as soon as you pipe up against it, they've already got these like pre-made pejoratives towards you. Oh, you're a social justice warrior. You're a virtue signaler. You're part of the
woke culture,
cancel culture. They've got all of these names ready for anyone who has got anything to say. And then all we've got is, oh, you're racist. You can't call me racist. And then you go, well, here's a list of all the things that you've said that's racist.
Yeah,
that's not racist. That's just my opinion. Well, it's just racist. Sorry about that. Yeah. and this is the problem when you've got a power structure that is doing its best to protect itself in the sense of the media are drumming into the group consciousness that all these people that are opposed to you want to cancel you and want your opinion stifled because they can highlight a blue-haired trans lesbian that shouted at a man, and that's representative of everyone who's on the left or on the opposing team.
And that's why I pushed back on the Bernie Bros thing, because it's the same thing.
Yeah, no, and I get that. But what I'm saying is we can't say that they don't exist. That was my...
Yeah. I'm piggybacking.
Yeah. All right, then.
What I just want to say in closing is that all of the times that Donald Trump has been a hypocrite, and all of the times he's changed his mind and he refuses to apologize, it's been covered over and over and over and over and over again, and we know this should be a fact, but we are in a climate today that you have so many news sources and so many sources that you can turn to. I think I have a visitor.
Yeah.
So this is
great. Thank you.
This happens every now and then.
Oh my God!
And he walked out without saying anything. My man. That was funny.
Let's just say this. This has been great. You are the best. Go to the Bin Podcast, patreon.com/the Bin Podcast. Make sure you get your patrons in. You'll get to see more of the Hippocast. You get to see more of everything. We are going to end the show. Of course, it's going to be an after show. We are going to continue streaming, and we might even have some guests on, but our regular episode ends here. It ends now. For Mikey, for Brenna, for Shartan, and of course Cortez, and my man Wayne, we thank you for listening. We thank you for being here with us. You have a great night. And do we need to fuck anybody? No, we don't.
No, end the stream.
For the Bin Podcast, this has been great. Have a good one.